The Weedsman Podcast. ChristopherMedia.net.
Hurry in during Ram Truck Month, where right now, well-qualified returning FCA lessees get a low-mileage lease on the 2022 Ram 1500 Bighorn Quad Cab 4x4 for $279 a month for 24 months with $2,509 due at signing. Tax, title, license extra, no security deposit required. Call 1-877-RAM-5722 for details. Requires dealer contribution and lease through Chrysler Capital. Current lease must end by 5/1/23. Extra charge for miles over 20,000. Residency restrictions apply. Take delivery by 5/2/22.
There are more ways to celebrate than ever before at the Jeep Celebration event, where right now, well-qualified returning FCA lessees get a low-mileage lease on the 2022 Grand Cherokee WK Laredo E4x4 for $209 a month for 24 months with $5,339 due at signing. Tax, title, license extra. No security deposit required. Call 1-888-925-JEEP for details. Requires dealer contribution at least to Chrysler Capital. Current lease must end by 5/1/23. Extra charge for miles over 20,000. Residency restrictions apply. Take delivery by 5/2/22. Jeep is a registered trademark.
Hurry in during Ram Truck Month, where right now, well-qualified returning FCA lessees get a low-mileage lease on the 2022 Ram 1500 Bighorn Quad Cab 4x4 for $279 a month for 24 months with $2,509 due at signing. Tax, title, license extra, no security deposit required. Call 1-877-RAM-5722 for details. Requires dealer contribution and lease through Chrysler Capital. Current lease must end by 5/1/23. Extra charge for miles over 20,000. Residency restrictions apply. Take delivery by 5/2/22.
Christopher Media. Let's make some noise. From Asthmacore Studios near Detroit, Michigan.
Oh, man.
It's the Weedsman Podcast.
I have no idea what's going on.
And now,
You have smoked yourself retarded.
here are the Weedsmen.
You want to get high?
1 week to go. I'm Chris.
I'm Aaron. One week to what?
It's April 13th.
Yeah. Oh, till 420. Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a weed Christmas.
it's the unofficial weed holiday.
Yeah, I've already started getting like notifications and emails of like, our 420 sale starts now.
Oh, boy, they're really getting a jump on it, huh? I tell you, 420 starts earlier and earlier every year.
Right.
It's nothing but a cash grab anymore.
Remember back in the day when they only started the specials on the 19th?
Yeah. People don't even understand what 420 is actually all about anymore.
Why do they still have the hash bash?
Why? Well, I mean, why wouldn't they? I don't follow you. Like, wouldn't it be now would be the time for the hash bash?
No, well,
or you think it's just moot because
the whole point was to get pot legalized? Well, it's legalized.
Yeah, but the hash bash was a day of amnesty, right? There was actual, the cops were saying, okay, we're not going to bust anyone for pot this day.
Yeah, but if you know the law in Ann Arbor, oh, it's the day they're going to waive the $25 ticket they would write you.
Yeah, exactly.
Because Ann Arbor's been pretty easy on pot for a while. If you got caught, now, the one thing we all learned going down there, I don't know if you ever went down. We went down a few years because
I didn't. I kind of went around the periphery of a hash bash.
That's the thing is you did the smart thing. Yeah, you could walk around the city of Ann Arbor and toke up. You set foot on that campus, you're essentially setting foot on a sovereign nation. You can get arrested on the University of Michigan campus all fucking day for sparking up weed.
Oh, right, yeah. Well, I mean, just because it's legal in some places, there's still a lot of work to do. We would still like it to be, completely legal and cheap and widely available. I think we're getting definitely closer to that.
I guess it's not nationally legal.
Yeah, and even then, so, if they make it completely legal and then the future hash bashes will just be to celebrate that.
Don't smoke a joint with a crowd of people. Just go to a concert.
Finally feeling like spring out there.
It's getting there. It's at least now going sunny, rain. It's starting to alternate.
We got a tornado warning, so,
Oh, we did?
Or a tornado watch, I should say. No actual, I don't think there wasn't even really any storms over here, but that's spring, that's officially spring in Michigan, the tornado watch.
Oh, geez, there's a whole bunch of shit on the radar.
Yeah, we might still get some shit slapping us around a little bit. What are you going to do? You take the good with the bad, right?
Come on, summer. We're already a month into spring.
Well, we're already 4 months into 2022. This is just not a good year for comedy, is it?
Right? Another one.
We're losing. So we lost Gilbert Gottfried yesterday, and it's kind of almost freaky how we're losing. It's prescient, I think, is the word that I want. It's like it's almost like the edgiest comedians are dying because they just can't do it anymore. And I'm not.
Since last year, what? Norm Macdonald, Bob Saget, Louis Anderson, Gilbert Gottfried. Who else? Did I miss anybody?
Yeah. I mean, Jeff Ross is feeling pretty alone right now. That's all I'm thinking. Like, could somebody please, somebody reaching out to Jeff, make sure he's okay. Somebody check in on Jeff Ross, because these are a lot of people close to him. I mean, there was a photo, a pretty famous photo that was going around because, when Norm passed away, I can't remember who originally shared it, but there was a photo of Jeff Ross, of Norm, of Gilbert, and of what's his name that we were talking about earlier that hit his head?
Bob Saget.
And Bob Saget. Yeah, they all had dinner together, and they were, had this great. I mean, can you imagine what that night would be like? Hanging out with those four freaks.
I'll go with awesome.
Hearing the raunchiest jokes ever. Like, I would piss my pants. But so one of the groups shared that photo when Norm passed, and then it came up again, and then and yet again just yesterday. And it's just crazy. Like, they're all gone just in that short amount of time.
Oh, does Jeff Ross own a monkey's paw?
Yeah, I want to be the raunchiest comedian in the world.
Right.
Oh, that's a total, that's almost like a Gilbert joke. Gilbert got pretty famous for telling a genie joke at the roast. Have you seen? I watched I've seen them before, but when I heard that he passed, the first thing that I wanted to do is appreciate what he did best. And he's a comedian. I don't think that he wants a whole world grieving over his passing. They want to go, oh my God, what a funny guy. Let's all remember him and laugh at his jokes again. But yeah, he tells I think he did one to Pamela Anderson. He says, can you make it, she gets one wish from a genie. Genie says, what's your wish? Pam says, I forget what it was, barbed wire. I want barbed wire to be the commercial success that it should have been. And Genie's like, look, I'm a genie, but even I have limits. you got to come up with something else. And she thinks for a while and goes, I wish that my pussy was tighter. And the genie goes, let me take a little look at that barbed wire thing.
I know, he was, one of his most famous incidents was he told a 9/11 joke a little too soon and then popped out of it with the Aristocrats.
Yeah. Oh, so when did the Aristocrats come out? That was post 9/11?
Yes. Ah, man. Because I remember... it had to be, because 9/11 came out when I was living in this apartment on Vine Street in Kalamazoo.
Did you
only
just say
lived
9/11
in it for a year.
Do you remember when 9/11 dropped?
No, but
you said it. 9/11 came out.
Right.
You mean it occurred?
Well, no, just because I watched the Aristocrats in that apartment. That's the same apartment I was living in when 9/11 happened. It's just when.
Okay.
Well, because he said it. He did it at a roast of Hugh Hefner, and I know that roast was televised. So definitely I remember watching that roast in a house I lived in Mount Clemens. So I know he said, he was saying he just made a joke about his flight. It was hard to find a flight that didn't have to stop at the Empire State Building first. And the whole room just kind of was like, ugh. And then he told the Aristocrats and won the whole room back.
Oh, I get you. Oh, that's right. I thought you were saying that people didn't forgive him until the Aristocrats movie came out.
No.
But he won. That's right. Absolutely right. He lost the audience. That's according to Brian Bishop from the Adam Carolla podcast. That was the birth of the phrase "too soon."
Now, I did not listen to Adam Carolla's show yet today. Is Adam pretty pumped that now he'll just now be recognized as Adam Carolla?
Well, he still gets mistaken for Norm Macdonald, and Norm's dead. So
Let's say Norman
He
Gilbert.
said
our
he
dad,
said it'll
Elefant, would be
take
like,
people a while to catch up, but Brian said this is your moment to shine.
Well, Pete Sampras is still around.
Yeah. Until Pete Sampras gets a head wound.
He'll just finally be recognized as Adam Carolla.
No, yeah, I mean he told that joke like 2 weeks after 9/11.
But it's like,
But
did he do stand up? Like, because to me, he's
Yeah.
always been famous to me. Like, he came into my orbit. I'm sure, like, yours probably, like, he did Up All Night on USA, and then he was in UHF, and then he just did bit parts in movies. Like, he was in Problem Child.
Beverly Hills Cop.
He essentially just played the same part in every movie, right?
Yeah, he played annoying Jew.
Played himself
Yeah.
in every movie.
Yeah. Well, he's no great actor. I mean, but he is a comedic genius. And
And I heard, too, that voice is an act.
Oh, well, no, not really. So, okay, so this kind of hit me hard because not only I remember Gilbert doing stand up, and this is where the age difference between us, as small as it is, actually makes a big difference. Because there was that.
It's in those younger years where it really makes the difference.
Yeah, when he was doing a lot of, stand up, you'd see him in front of the brick wall at the Improv or wherever the fuck. And then he got SNL, and then he started doing them like movie bits and the voices, and then the Aladdin, and then all that shit, right? But he continued to do stand-up throughout, but it just wasn't, I mean, he wasn't into like touring. He wasn't, like, as soon as Gilbert could get off the road and, make money doing these bit parts rather than trying to hump it as a comedian around the U.S., he was more than willing to, I think. But the voice was definitely pushed for the stand-up act and certainly exaggerated for his voice work, like the Aflac duck and Iago from Aladdin. But I've listened to hundreds of hours of this man and his podcast talk about stuff that he loves and do amazing impressions too. And yeah, I mean, like, his voice, he's not yelling, but that's still his voice, He's just pushing it a little, but I would not say that the voice was an act. He didn't like go home and say, "Dara, dear, what's for dinner? Are we having meatloaf? Oh, sorry, I'm on. What's up?"
It isn't like the rumor like Michael Jackson.
What, that he had a normal voice?
Well,
Yeah.
More than one person have said that Michael had a completely different, like that whole like, hey, I do, like, that was all an act.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't rolling like Barry White or anything.
Right.
Hey, I do. But
he was pushing this voice.
Yeah. Well, you said you listened to Gilbert's podcast. Yeah. Was he public that he was sick?
No. Not at all. He had
this is another Norm situation?
Myotonic dystrophy type 2, which I had never even heard of. They said that he's been suffering from it for a long time. Let's see. His representative said Gottfried's death was caused by a heart rhythm issue called recurrent ventricular tachycardia, which resulted from monotonic dystrophy type 2.
If you're looking for a medical podcast, you're in the wrong place.
Let's see. According to the NIH, it's a common form of muscular dystrophy. Okay. That begins in adulthood. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that anybody thought that Gilbert was sick because,
Wasn't he like a recluse kind of anyway?
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, he had friends, certainly. I think he got out and did stuff. But I was just saying, like, no one knew he was sick because, like, what does Gilbert Well look like? I don't know if anyone knows.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, he seemed to also be, well, he was a private guy, but I'm telling you, like, he does really open up on his podcast, and his podcast is great. And I hope that, as weird as it sounds, I hope they find a way to keep doing it, because a lot of that podcast wouldn't happen if it wasn't for Frank Santopadre, which is his co-host. And that's the guy who does like all the research, has all the knowledge, and can really keep the interview going on track and not just devolving into weird impressions and you know, quoting lines from Casablanca back and forth. But
The Amazing Colossal Podcast, or Gilbert Gottfried's Amazing Colossal Podcast.
Yeah, he has great guests. He gets, you know, some of this is going way far back to stuff that, like, I've only heard of those. They talk about movies that I'm like, I've heard of this one, but I've never seen it. But it doesn't matter because they're telling like great, like raunchy stories about old Hollywood, about, you know, who's banging who and like weird pervert. Like, I can't remember who it is, but he would always bring up like one particular actor, and he, like anybody who had any contact with him, he'd like, is it true that he liked to stand in a bucket of ice water and have nude models throw orange wedges at his ass? There's always some weird kink or something like that. Or is it true that Joan Collins had a chimpanzee that serviced her with cunnilingus? You know, these are the types of questions he would ask.
Sounds like Gilbert. You think anybody remembers why they were all in a tizzy and mad for him getting fired? Was it over like a tsunami or something? Like, it was essentially, it was like a too soon.
That's right. He didn't lose
soon, way too soon, and Affleck was like,
Yeah, I was thinking that the Affleck thing was from the 9/11 joke, but it wasn't. It was from the tsunami joke.
I'm saying, wasn't Gilbert an early victim of cancel culture?
Well, that's just the thing, is like that joke, I don't even remember what it was.
Most people probably
it's probably
don't.
funny.
They just know they were
it's
mad
probably
at
funny.
the time because it was the cause thing to, you know.
Right. But here's the thing, like, comedians can, it's okay to like not be funny sometimes. And as a matter of fact, like, just like, I really love it when people swing for the fences. You know, what really upsets me when like a Marvel movie comes out and it's just a dud because it just feels like they just tried to play it safe and it's just unenjoyable. I would rather see a hot mess on the screen that's trying something new, and even if it's failing, that it is at least trying to do something, push the genre forward, or tell a bigger story or whatever. And it's the same thing with comedians, you know? Okay, so occasionally Gilbert doesn't read the room correctly, and he pushes it a little too far into places that are uncomfortable for people. That is what makes him great. The fact that he's able to make those brave choices and say, this may or may not work, but this is, you know, what I think is funny.
Yeah, well, but two comedians are going to comedian.
How so?
Well, that's just what they do. That's their instinct.
Oh, they're going to joke about it either way. Yeah, no, absolutely.
But yeah, it's okay. Which just sometimes there are some things where it's like, yeah, like I've always like
no, but what I'm saying ultimately is that's okay. That's a good thing, right?
Yes, we want
that. We do want that, because otherwise everybody's going to be fucking Jay Leno. And like, Jay Leno's excellent at what he does, but
yeah, but I guess my thing, like, I'm not a comedian, but I guess my rules, like, if there's a body anywhere near the joke, like don't just
see.
Just
I think that's a bad rule, and I could probably, if I was to do enough research, could offer you plenty of examples that you would probably find funny.
I guess
because like death is one of the big things.
Not right now.
Death should not be. Death should not be
off.
Yeah, okay. So there's the too soon thing, but like, who's the arbiter of when's not too soon enough?
Like, if they're still like in Gilbert's case, if they're still looking for bodies, maybe you wait till they pronounce everybody dead.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm not saying that there isn't a line. I'm saying that if we want to have good comedy, and this is not just a frivolous thing, like, good comedy is essential. It really is. Like, that's
it makes you, makes you think.
It puts you in a state of mind where you're willing to accept possibly new ideas. It actually has it's a greater chance to second only to like having somebody in your life that you love have that try and change you. Comedy can break down those barriers that we throw up.
Dude, you are preaching to the choir, brother. I get it, man. I don't want to live in a world where George Carlin never existed. Trust me, I've always thought comedians are some of them are modern day prophets.
Absolutely. I mean, George Carlin is a perfect example, and somebody who set out to change people's minds with comedies, and he shaped whole generations.
Oh yeah, I would just love to see some Gen Z.
I can't wait to see Apatow's documentary, by the way.
Dude, it sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Those are videos I would like to watch. Reaction videos, aren't those a thing on YouTube?
Yeah.
I would watch Gen Z watching George Carlin. Yeah. I would watch those reaction videos.
But, I don't know. Like, I think that they would agree with him for the most part. And all those stand-ups for HBO all through the 90s and everything, all that material holds up. Not because it's still edgy today. I mean, it's not really. It holds up because it's all still true.
Because George
today.
didn't
It's
really
100% true.
He didn't talk about dated shit. He talked about esoteric shit. He talked about things and experiences everybody had and went through. He didn't just limit it to what's the deal with airplane food?
Right. And if he wanted to talk politics, he wasn't going to talk about who's in the White House right now. Because that material's dead in 4 years, right?
No, he's going to talk about how all politicians are going to fuck you.
Yes. You want to talk politics? Okay, here you go. It's you versus the state. They're going to win.
It's a big club, and you ain't in it.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite George lines. Also, he talks about kids. He's like, kids are just like everybody else. A few winners, a whole lot of losers.
A whole lot of losers. Yeah, so, who is left?
Dave Chappelle's left.
Okay, but,
Bill Burr's left.
Isn't he a little too rich to be carrying the torch?
I mean, right now, the two stand-ups, the two guys that are considered, the best stand-ups out there by stand-ups are Bill Burr and Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
Bill, I don't know. Is it the black wife? I do not know how Bill Burr gets away with all of the shit that he says being a white guy.
You just don't care and you keep your head down and keep moving forward.
Is it because he hung out with Patrice O'Neal? Or just is it like the Adam Carolla situation? You can't cancel me. I'm an independent contractor. Fuck you.
Right.
Somebody tried. It was the Grammys, I think, last year. There was a little tiny thing on Twitter for maybe 6 hours. People tried to get Bill Burr canceled, and his reaction was essentially, "Fuck you! You can't cancel me. I don't work for anybody."
Well, speaking of how comedy holds up from back in our day to now, there's a whole troupe of Canadians looking to make a comeback, and that's the Kids in the Hall.
Oh yeah,
and they actually have. Well, I can send you the link for this if you want to see the video. They've got they haven't announced. They announced May 20th is when it's going to premiere.
Oh, that's soon.
Oh no, I'm sorry, sooner than that. May 13th.
That's even
Kids
sooner.
In the Hall. Yes. Thank you. Followed by the companion docu-series, The Kids in the Hall Comedy Punks. So we're going to get subsequently new material and a docu-series looking at the old material.
Oh, I'm frothy now.
Yeah. So this is interesting. I mean, I don't know how many. I think Kids in the Hall are mostly remembered for their stickier comedy, like I'm Crushing Your Head and How Much Does a Human Head Weigh, and the little Gavin kid, and the Daves I Know, and all that stuff's great. The irreverent humor, but they were also they were pushing those boundaries as well with a lot of their humor. And I'm curious if, first of all, if they've changed, and I'm not judging either way, you know, but I am curious if their style has changed, or if we're going to get the same old kids in the hall that are going to be pushing some buttons, and how modern audiences are going to react to that.
Well, yeah, it's like, are they going to be all woke? I mean, because they're like,
they weren't really.
That's what I'm saying.
You know,
but are they going to now like?
I mean, Scott Thompson did, what was his character that was like totally leaning into every gay stereotype?
Yeah, Buddy Love.
Buddy Love. Oh, I love Buddy Love.
Oh, no, wait.
That's right.
Are we sure it's... I think Buddy Love is from the Nutty Professor. Buddy Cole.
Buddy Cole.
Yes.
That sounds familiar. Yeah, it was Buddy something, right?
Yes, it's Buddy Cole. Buddy Love was Jerry
He
Lewis.
was a bar owner, right? And they would always catch him like he was sitting at a table in the black background.
Yeah, and he's smoking, and he'd just sit there and just ramble on.
Yeah, rip on people.
Be catty and gay.
One of my favorites is the guy who's searching for weed. Do you remember that one? That's another Scott Thompson. He plays a burnout, this dude with dreadlocks, and he's going around town trying to find weed, and everyone's like, I got coke, I got acid, I got speed. And he's just trying to find some weed, and finally he finds this it's like an eye. I think it's in an upside down pyramid that talks to him through a door and grants a wish where he'll never be without weed ever again. And then
his dreadlocks turn to weed, right?
Yes. He's got weed coming out of his dreadlocks. He's just trimming it and weighing it. And
I was like, this sounds, I've seen this. Yeah. I think I've seen them all. Because I think I saw them when they were rerunning them on Comedy Central, and then didn't they do their final season on Comedy Central?
I think so. I don't know if I saw all of that, but I'm due for another run through. And if Prime Video's got all this shit, then it's worth it.
Forget about that home run, Joe. Let me at that whore.
What?
It's Cancer Boy. And the guy says he's going to hit the home run for him. And he doesn't hit the home run. So, well, I got you a $2 whore. Well, they don't look as jarring as I thought they were going to look. But
no, they don't really.
Scott Thompson's got a big old beard on.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, the one who, Mark McKinney, like, have you seen him on Superstore?
No, not on Superstore.
What the fuck is that?
Sorry, did you hear that through my headphones?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was loud. It was just I was queuing up the video.
It was
loud.
It was jarring to see him on Superstore.
Yeah.
Yeah, because his hair is gray and he's put on some weight. But I guess they all have in some way.
They look pretty decent.
Here's a trailer.
Is that where they're digging them out of the ground?
Who are you people?
Well, the curse is lifted and the kids are back.
Guys, I knew we should have cryogenically frozen our bodies.
Who's financing this time? The devil again?
Oh, sort of. Amazon.
Are you crazy?
All hands on deck.
Do you know what Amazon wants from Kids in the Hall?
Oh, so they're going to be
a funny show,
meta.
One that is free of targets, topical topics.
It's all a government conspiracy.
Alarming edginess or unsettling
God,
settings.
Kevin's old.
The last glory hill. Open for business.
So we all agree that gender parity is a good thing.
This is a bad idea. Fox not. So sorry.
I've opened a can of worms.
Oh, they're still going to dress up.
Yeah.
A customer just ordered the tarte bleu bleu et sauvage and then call it a pie.
We're going to have to burn the place to the ground.
What's the big idea for hit characters?
Back off, pigs, or the tower gets crashed. You will be
The Eradicator.
The Eradicator.
hilarious.
All right, so they're bringing back some of the old material.
Nice.
I have high hopes for this, man. That
no.
looks really good. I've heard really good things about their live shows that they've done.
Excited. May 13th. Hopefully they'll get more seasons. Didn't they? Didn't they have but the reunion was the live shows.
Yeah.
Dave Foley he shed some pounds, and he just looks like, and he's colored his hair. He just looks like Dave Foley, just older. Bruce and Mark have gotten a little wider. Mark's gotten a lot wider. Mark wins the weight gain award of the 5 people.
The Weedsman Podcast. ChristopherMedia.net.
There are more ways to celebrate than ever before at the Jeep Celebration event, where right now, well-qualified returning FCA lessees get a low-mileage lease on the 2022 Grand Cherokee WK Laredo E4x4 for $209 a month for 24 months with $5,339 due at signing. Tax, title, license extra. No security deposit required. Call 1-888-925-JEEP for details. Requires dealer contribution, at least to Chrysler Capital. Current lease must end by 5/1/23. Extra charge for miles over 20,000. Residency restrictions apply. Take delivery by 5/2/22. Jeep is a registered trademark.
ChristopherMedia.net. The Weedsman Podcast.
Well, speaking of supergroups with roots from the 90s, there's a new rock group on the scene. What are they even called?
I sense a theme. Something
Third
with 3?
Third Secret.
Yeah.
Third Secret features Chris Novoselic, Kim Thale, and Matt Cameron. So you got Nirvana, you got Soundgarden, you got Pearl Jam, all represented in one group.
You technically got double Soundgarden.
Double Soundgarden. Because Matt Cameron did both?
He's a drummer for both, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He replaced Jack Irons in Pearl Jam, and he's just been doing double duty ever since. Well, actually, he replaced Jack Irons in Pearl Jam when Soundgarden broke up. And then when Soundgarden got back together, he's just been the drummer for both bands.
Oh, okay. And then they got vocalists Jennifer Johnson and Jillian Ray.
I have no idea who these chicks are.
Apparently, they have performed with Novoselic's other band, Giants in the Trees. So there was a surprise drop of their album on Monday of this week. Recorded and mixed by Jack Endino. So should have that trademark grunge sound to it.
This guy produced Bleach.
Guy produced a lot of shit, didn't he? He was like, I don't know if he was like working for Sub Pop or if that was just their preferred producer.
The guy was just there that day.
Well, according to Wikipedia, Endino played guitar for Soundgarden for a while.
Oh, wow.
In 85. Oh, they started Skinyard. That was his... Endino was Skinyard. He recorded Bleach.
Sounds like Stevie Nicks.
That if I went down south, I'd make it happen. Stay strong, my love, and say goodbye.
Sounds nice, but not what we were exactly expecting.
Okay, well.
Yeah, what's the next track? Thank you. I was curious what else they had. Yeah, because Kim Thale's not known for his finger picking.
Yes.
Let's get to the meat of this. I want to hear some nauseatingly swirly guitar riffs that just sound sick and thick as fuck.
This just sounds like Chris Cornell should be singing over it. It just sounds like...
I hear you, but I think it's enjoyable. I'm going to give it a shot.
It just sounds like Bad Motorfinger to me. Like something that...
Yeah, it's definitely got that Like, Bad Motorfinger especially had that kind of signature sound of, like, fast slow to me. Like, you know, fast songs that felt like they kept slowing down. It was all in the way that, it's really a Kim Thale in the way that he plays and knows how to, like, drag out certain notes and, like, just come in a little bit late on something to give it this feel like you're just being dragged down and weighed down by chains.
And I loved it so much.
Yeah. Like, he's got his own fucking pocket.
On the last day of the universe, I was taken by surprise and I don't even know the reason why it happened.
I guess I'm just...
This sounds interesting. I think it sounds like good arrangements. I think that's mostly what I
guess I'm not loving this vocalist.
I hear ya. Yeah, I'm not bothered by. I don't know if that's Jennifer or Jillian or both. They just like, are they always just harmonizing with each other? You know, like I was saying earlier, like I appreciate big swings, and with so many of the, you know, like super groups and new projects from people that we used to listen to, you know, it sounds well produced, but the arrangements themselves are just stale and bland.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just not going to do anything for me. You know, it's like most of what the Chili Peppers have put out in the last couple of decades. Although I'm really curious to hear how they sound back together with What's His Nuts. Because, I mean, Frusciante was always the best guitarist they ever had.
Have you heard any of the new album yet?
I haven't, but if you want to lay a cut on me, I'm all ears.
All right, I'm just... Well, I don't want to taint your... I kind of think you're going to have, like, the same opinion as me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like...
It's fine. Taint away, my friend.
It ain't Blood Sugar Sex
no
Magic,
thing.
but it's not One Hot Minute.
Okay. That's a good happy medium, I think.
Like, it's... and maybe, I don't know, just... I feel like... Part of me feels like I wish this to happen. I just remember sitting at my desk one day, listening to the Chili Peppers going, man, I wish this... It was in like 2018. Like, man, I wish these guys would get back together. Mm-hmm. And then I read a story like, oh, Flea and John Frusciante, like 2 weeks later, oh, Flea and John Frusciante were seen hanging out at a Dodgers game.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, hey, John Frusciante's back in the band. I'm like, did I make this happen? Did I will this? But I've read like a lot of interview, like, you know, especially when anyone wants to talk to John Frusciante, I'm willing to listen.
Yeah.
You know, they have a lot more interesting shit that they came up with. I guess they just got back together and just started just writing and jamming like immediately.
That's what I was reading. There's some crazier shit that they've got lined up, but they kind of wanted to get like a good collection of rock songs down.
Yeah,
like a new starting point almost.
Yeah, like I said, they said a lot of the songs that they put out were like the things that they wrote with them getting back together, like getting used to each other again.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's
who produced it?
It didn't blow my fucking mind, but like it's in 2022. It's nice to hear harmonies. It's nice to hear guitar solos.
That's true. Yeah.
It's nice to hear. Yeah. At this point, I will argue that Flea and Chad Smith are one of the best rhythm sections ever, not just in rock music.
Yeah.
Like, I'll put them up against the rhythm section from the fucking Wrecking Crew. Like,
yeah, I hear you.
Like, dude, like, those two guys together are just fucking... Here, I'll play you what I think... I don't know. This song is a standout on the album to me.
Looking back at the years gone by when the message changed my life. Heaven meant that the nest was dead, well, and the rappers gave their life, but I don't know who was looking out for anyone like me and you. Or maybe it was Susie too. Day to day with the way we played, well, everybody knows to eat.
If it was anybody else, I'd say they Pro Tools that shit. Like, that's way too fucking tight.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the kind of bass lines I love from Flea. Like groovy, melodic, still a little bit restrained. Not all this. I'm not into like all the like heavy slapping shit.
Yeah.
Like this sounds really groovy. I'm digging it.
I mean, if anything, I'll say for the album, it's on brand.
This has got a lot of soul to it, man. I mean, this is.
Oh yeah.
I'm excited. I'm gonna check it out, and I'm excited what they do next too. Because if they got some weird shit, I mean, that honestly, I was hoping for something a little bit freakier because, I mean, that's Frusciante. Like he's an avant-garde musician, through and through. He wants to like make noise, push boundaries, just experiment. But he's also just one of the best guitar players out there.
And he's also got a good ear.
Yeah.
He writes a lot of these hooks.
Yeah. That's a good tempo.
Like I said, they're not breaking new ground, but like I said, in 2022, it's like, competent musicians. This is nice.
No, not breaking new ground, but it sounds like they're establishing a new bass line. I don't mean that as a pun, but
yeah.
Yeah, this has got a little of that like funky Mexican made vibe to it.
Yeah. So yeah. And then too, there's a lot of like mid-tempo
for that song these days.
Radio shit on here too.
Or Catholic schoolgirls. There's a lot of old Chili Pepper songs you get canceled for these days.
Right. But there's a lot of stuff too that you definitely they wrote this to be on the radio or what's left of the radio.
Yeah. Well, but it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna if you want to start pushing boundaries, if that is their goal, if they are, gonna get a little bit more out there, you gotta start with rebuilding your fan base and getting that shit out on the radio.
Like I tell you,
like Radiohead. If Radiohead released OK Computer as their first album, they would be a cult success to this day because that album's genius. But they released, Creep on fucking, what's it's called, the first album.
Pablo Honey?
Pablo Honey. And then The Bends, which is just hook-laden to death. I mean, that album is hooky as shit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great melodies. And they built up, they got, some radio play and really got a fan base going. And then they said, okay, now Left Turn, and the fans went with them.
Oh, that album's so good.
Which one specifically?
OK
I love
Computer.
them all. OK Computer, yeah, it's just classic.
But I'll tell
and you know what? Here's why it's good. It's experimental, it's crazy, but just about all those songs, I'll either sit down and play on piano or guitar, and they work great.
That is a Just Push Play album.
Yeah.
That is just
programmed impeccably.
Start to finish. You ain't got to worry. I forget how many tracks are on there. I don't even know because I just never checked.
It's 12. Yeah, it's 12 tracks.
Yeah. That album is so great. Yeah, last word on the Chili Peppers album. I like the back half. Dude, they had leftovers, mind you. There's fucking 17 tracks on this album.
Wow.
And I like
and they had more, huh?
Yeah, and I like the back half better than the front half. The front half to me is all the radio play stuff.
Did I ask you who's producing that?
Rick Rubin, and apparently...
Oh, it is Rick Rubin. That's great.
I didn't know this. He's been with them for every album since Blood Sugar Sex Magic.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
I just assumed that they...
So even the turd one hot minute... Hey, you can only do so much with Dave Navarro.
True.
I mean, Dave Navarro is a good guitarist, but not
He's
for
good.
the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah, he was never a great fit.
Like you put him with Stephen Perkins and fucking I forget the other dude's name. He sounds great. Put him with Flea and Chad Smith.
That's the thing is his guitar style is more like big chords that just envelop the whole song. I mean, that's really what's driving those Jane's Addiction songs is that guitar tone.
Yeah.
And that just doesn't work in the Chili Peppers.
And he's an underrated soloist. Like, he had really big, really tasty solos.
Yeah.
But again,
the solo from Mountain Song.
But
that's
not
fucking
in the
amazing.
Chili Peppers. Yeah, Chili Peppers are not a rock band.
Yeah, they're a funk band.
Yes. Absolutely. They're a funk band that sometimes plays rock songs, but even their rock songs are still, they got a groove because they got Flea and Chad Smith.
Right, so moving on to a little bit of weed news before we get out of here. Some weed publishing news. There's a comic book that is coming out. Actually, it might be out already by the time we... Oh, no. It's coming out, of course. It's coming out in a week on 4/20.
No.
There's a comic called The Secret History of the War on Weed. And I'm going to send you this so you can take
Is Harry
a look.
Anslinger in it?
Who's that?
He was the head of I believe the first ever head of the DEA.
Oh, right.
And I'm trying to remember, and was when pot first came on their radar,
right?
And all the testing came back, research came back that said pot really isn't a big deal, and apparently he was pissed and threw it all out and said, "Fuck it, we're going to tell them it's bad anyway."
Mm-hmm. That's right. So I don't know. I imagine that they would that they'll get into that, but maybe not. Maybe this is. Well, let's see here. Here's the rundown of it. This is from Jerry Dugan and Brian Posehn are the writers. So Brian Posehn, he's a comedian. He's on Sarah Silverman's show on Comedy Central. He's a metal fan and a stoner. Jerry Dugan, actually both him and Jerry have both together written for Marvel Comics for Deadpool, a very successful Deadpool run. It says Brian Posehn, Jerry Dugan, and Scott Koblish, that's the artist that's working with him, reformed Voltron, metaphorically only, from their days on Deadpool, also not appearing, to tell a true story and lost chapter from our nation's sad and failed war on drugs. So claiming it's a true story. The year is 1985. The First Lady decides to crush Northern California cannabis farmers and deploys the biggest tool in the armed forces, Scotch McTiernan, collectible first of many hilarious appearances. It says, if it weeds, we can kill it. Scotch puts his boots on the ground in Humboldt and does what he does best. But what happens when he gets high for the first time? This one shot has it all. Laughs, tears, heart, action, plus an activity page. Portion of the proceeds from this comic will be donated to organizations dedicated to helping casualties of America's immoral drug war. So I'm looking forward to that. That's coming out from Image Comics on April 20th. It's too late to pre-order.
So this guy was busting heads in Humboldt County, and then then the heads got him high.
That's what it says. Yeah, I don't know. That's what it sounds like.
Probably physically and metaphorically busting heads.
Yeah, so maybe this, they say true story and lost chapter. So I'm going to interpret that as based on real people, but fictionalized events.
Like when the guy told Homer about the catfish.
Yeah, what did he tell him about the catfish?
No,
that was the huge one that...
yeah, General Sherman.
Yeah, that's right. Forgot about that. That's a pretty old episode. That's like early, isn't it? Like season 3 or 4.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then Homer became part of the legend himself.
Yeah.
Which I was reminded of that. I saw a story over the weekend. It was in my Google news feed. Some dude caught some crazy 300-pound catfish.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I thought, oh, hey, that's General Sherman.
Yeah. Was she at least cute?
Oh, wait.
She at least have a good face.
It's true. Catching a catfish in 2022 does mean other things.
Yeah, was it at least female?
Right?
So this is interesting. This was published in the Marijuana Moment, one of my favorite publications. This is an op-ed from Congressman Earl Blumenauer, Democrat from Oregon, where they do have legal weed. And I'm not going to go through this whole thing. Well, actually, it's pretty short. We can run through this real quick, but this is what he has to say. After working on cannabis reform for decades, we hit another critical threshold. Congress passed both the Comprehensive MORE Act, which is the gold standard in cannabis reform, and my Medical Marijuana Research Act. Comprehensive reform is also passed in the last Congress, but it had no chance in the Senate. Reform under Mitch McConnell's Republican control was doomed to fail. This year, we send the legislation to a Senate where it has a real chance of sparking action. Currently, the Senate is led by Chuck Schumer, who, along with Cory Booker and Ron Wyden, is committed to ending the failed war on drugs.
Better fucking hurry, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah, no shit. These midterms are going to be gruesome.
Now, see, I thought I was pretty good at social studies and such, and my knowledge of government. I always thought Congress was both of them, what you called them collectively, the House and the Senate. And then I thought the House was the House and the Senate was the Senate.
Yeah, I don't know. That sounds right, but I think we've all, like, from as long as I can remember, yeah, it was it was Congress and the Senate. Maybe it's because the way that the House does business, it's more congressional. I don't know. I'm grasping.
Oh, all right. From Congress.gov.
Okay.
Because I Googled what is Congress. The United States Congress is the legislature of the federal government of the United States. It is bicameral, being composed of a lower body, the House of Representatives, and an upper body, the Senate. The Congress. So there's a member of the House that doesn't know what. You see what I'm getting at?
Yeah. No, I know what you're getting, but it's just become
just the catch-all name.
Yeah.
Hey, we're Congress.
Yeah.
I'm a congressman. Well, no, he has to be a congressperson.
That's right. I guess we're, well, not we, but New Jersey is weeks away from being able to sell cannabis. They just approved 13 dispensaries. That sounds like too little, but it's a good start.
That depends where they're at.
Yeah, that's true. They're all in one block.
Right.
You want to go down to the Hammock District.
I mean, if they're smart, they're probably all set up to keep people from going over the bridge or through the tunnel.
Exactly. Meeting held by video conference, 5 members of the Cannabis Regulatory Commission ushered in a seismic cultural change, making New Jersey the second state on the East Coast to fully authorize sales of cannabis to all adults.
What do you mean second? What's their definition of East Coast? Massachusetts has it. Maine has it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Both of those have an Atlantic coastline. Last time I checked a map.
Oh, that's a good point.
Virginia touches the Atlantic Ocean. Washington, D.C. Or wait, no.
But Virginia has medical, right?
No, I think, didn't Virginia go recreational?
I don't know. I can't keep track anymore.
See? Isn't that a good thing?
There you go.
Coming up on 8 years of doing this show, we're officially running. We've lost track of the states that have gone recreational. Progress.
George Harrison's estate is teaming up with a cannabis maker to sell weed. Guess what they're calling it? Their brand?
Apple?
No. They would get in trouble for that one.
Oh, Dark Horse?
No. Think puns on his most famous album as a solo artist.
So I said Dark Horse. Oh. All things must puff.
All things must grass.
Ah, so close.
I think they should have gone with something more like what you suggested. I think it should have been like all things must, puff, puff, pass, or all things must pass the Doochie. But all things must grass.
All things must puff, puff, pass. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I like that one. Collaboration with Harrison's estate is a win for Dadgrass. Oh, so that's why it's all things must grass. So they teamed up with Dadgrass. Are you familiar? We've talked about Dadgrass. That's the kind of diet weed. It's like weed like you used to get back in the day.
By the way, Virginia does have recreational weed.
Oh, they do have recreational. Okay.
They were the second state to have their legislation. Their governing body do it, not the people.
That's right. Yeah, they didn't vote on it. Well, not the people didn't. There wasn't a popular vote on it, I should say.
So would this be the first Beatle? Because there's no John Lennon weed yet. There's no Paul McCartney weed. Is there Ringo weed?
No, not that I know of.
So it's the first Beatle getting into. So every 10 years, are they going to find a new way to sell us the same weed?
Yeah, I mean, it's dad grass with a different packaging on it. It's got like the album cover for All Things Must Pass, where he's looking like David the Gnome. But it says All Things Must Grass. So, but, you know, Beatles fans, they'll buy anything.
It's true. Say Paul's got to get in on that sweet, sweet cannabis money before he dies, but Paul's got enough fucking money.
Oh, yeah. Katz told Forbes, being able to use the images of Harrison and the gnomes that grace his album makes him feel privileged. This is Joshua Katz, co-founder of Dadgrass. He says, being able to take the gnomes, which are almost as present on the All Things Must Pass album cover as George himself, and bring them to life with the blessing of the estate is one example of how we translated this scary privilege into something fun and lighthearted.
Yeah, such a privilege. They're allowing you to pay them a ton of cash to use his name.
Yeah.
Such a privilege. You could pay us something that's probably 6 to 7 figures, and you can use his name. Also, you can give us a piece of everything that you sell.
Yeah. What would George Harrison say if he were still alive? Probably not much. He was the quiet one.
It's true. Wait, hold on.
He'd say, I have to go for a fag. Oh, last thing before we go. Did you know the double rainbow guy passed?
Wow.
At age 57.
Does he count in the triangle with Gilbert?
No.
57?
57 years old.
Fentanyl? Or, I mean, from what I remember, he wasn't in the greatest shape.
That video, that was from the summer of 2010. Wow. Like, we talked about Double Rainbow Guy, but there must have been something else that came up like years after that.
Double Rainbow.
We don't go back that far.
Apparently wasn't big enough to make my Google News feed.
Whoa, that's a full rainbow. All the way. Double rainbow. Oh my God. It's a double rainbow all the way. Whoa, that's so intense. Whoa.
I really think at some point this guy came.
Whoa.
I guess he tested positive for COVID, so I guess COVID
Oh my God, oh my God. Oh my God.
Like right now, he might be shooting cum.
Yeah.
Oh my
No, right there.
Oh, wow. Woo! Yeah.
What?
Oh my God.
Yeah,
he's crying.
It doesn't even look like a triple rainbow. Oh
no,
my God,
I mean
it's full.
if he was an actor and that was his
all
O
the way
face,
across the
director would have to step and be like, okay, dial it back just a little bit.
Oh my God. Oh God.
He was on like mushrooms or something for sure. Man.
It had to be, right?
Yeah.
Acid.
See, he was on some sort of psychedelic because that's what you like.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he's yelling, he's screaming.
Yeah.
Like you could hear the sound waves. He was yelling so loud, bouncing off things. Probably some moose sticked his head up like, what the fuck's going on?
Well,
why is this guy yelling?
Paul Bear Vasquez, you're one of a kind.
The closed captioning on the video right now, crying.
Jeez. I hope you're in rainbow heaven right now.
He's crying because he knows he'll be dead in 12 years. That's the double rainbow told him. I saw a triple rainbow.
Shut up.
I didn't cry. No, it was recently.
Why you gotta one up Bear? He just fucking died, and you're like, that's no big deal. I saw 3.
Well, it was raining out. I was outside.
Triple rainbow.
Hey, wow, that's 3 rainbows.
Wow. What's the limit?
Right. No,
How many rainbows can they fit in the sky?
Hey, you know how I know I'm not wired like these newfangled internet kids?
Yeah.
No, we saw the internet, we saw the come up of the internet.
Yeah.
I did not, at no point was my instinct to whip out my phone and take a picture and put it on social media or video.
Oh, I would have for sure.
Like, oh, triple rainbow, I'm coming!
Well, for a triple rainbow.
I would jerk off. Triple rainbow! Oh my God! I have to do this. That's what the handbook says. If we get up to 4, someone's got to die. So, CNN, here's a video. Where is the double rainbow guy from 6 years ago?
Oh, he's dead.
Yeah, right.
What do you mean?
Let's see what this fucker looks. Oh, you ready for this, shocker? He lives in a trailer.
Oh.
Oh my God, it's full on double rainbow all the way across the sky. Oh my God, what does this mean?
When the double rainbow came, I knew that something powerful was going on. And then I woke up July 3rd, 2010, and my email is full of messages from YouTube. So I read one of them, and it said, Jimmy Kimmel tweeted your video, you're so lucky. It's happening.
He looks like a hippy-dippy Native American type.
A double rainbow.
Double rainbow.
The double rainbow
His name's Bear, right?
Yeah.
I've lived here on the side of this mountain alone for decades. When you live alone like this, you connect to...
What, is this an interview with him?
Yeah.
You yell at the
Okay.
top of your lungs and no one cares or knows. It gives you a type of freedom that most people have no understanding.
He's got a rainbow vest. He's sitting on a rainbow couch.
Oh, he was really cashing in, huh?
I was not on
Or
drugs
he's super
that day. I
gay.
had not done anything that day. I came to live in Yosemite in 1985 when I was 22 years old, and had been living there about
Okay,
3
dude. We saw a rainbow. We don't need your backstory. Hey, we had a listener, Evan, contact us saying that that Google Podcast doesn't let you rate.
Yeah, I saw that. What the hell, Google Podcasts?
Yeah. That's
What?
kind of ridiculous. I mean,
What the hell?
I don't know.
We're telling people to
So-
rate us and review us.
Yeah, I thought that was something that was available on every podcatcher these days. But if not, the second best thing is probably sharing, right?
Yeah, share it with people.
Yeah, if you can't rate it, then make your love known to others. Share it on your social media platform of choice and tell others to listen.
If you share it on Facebook, they can subscribe right through.
There you go.
Because Facebook finally realized, like 2 years ago, that, hey, we should let podcasts hook up their RSS feeds to their Facebook pages. It only took them until 2020. So, yeah. So now you can subscribe. There's a subscribe button. Boom. Do it. Done. Show shows up. Get it. Set it and forget it. And also, on Twitter at the Weasel420, and hit the PayPal button or the Amazon button on ChristopherMedia.net if you'd like to help us out. And wherever you listen to us, we just did this, but we're going to do it again. Rate us and review us. You can still rate us and review us on Apple. You can rate us and review us on Facebook. I know that.
On Stitcher?
Yeah, Stitcher. Wherever you listen to us. Amazon, all of a sudden I notice a lot of our listens come from there. So, yeah, Amazon's all about ratings.
Yep.
So wherever you rate us, review us, do it, please, and thank you. And also, stay high.
Stay high.
The Weedsman Podcast. ChristopherMedia.net.